What's going on, everyone? Nick Kiger here, Kiger Strength. So I want to start today's video by showing you some footage from my deadlift and bench session yesterday. So I did this session on Thursday. Usually I do it on Wednesday, had to push it back this week. So this week, I decided to use the deadlift bar. I haven't used that in a very long time. And just because I'm 4 weeks out now from my USPA meet, and that's a deadlift bar federation, so figured might as well see where I'm at. And it felt so good after using the stiff bar for, you know, the past few months at least. And so that was one thing I just wanted to kind of see where I'm at regarding that. And another thing that I've been doing in terms of the deadlift for the last 2 weeks has been on the back off rep sets. I've been using touch and go, and this is for a couple main reasons, and I plan to do this for the future too. And this is for a couple main reasons. One is when I have you know, several sets of like 5 reps to do with a moderately heavy weight for me, if I'm doing, you know, dead stop reps, I tend to get a little bit sloppy with the form because, you know, I just, you know, want to rush those first few reps because, you know, I feel like the set's never going to end. But when I do touch and go, I can focus on really staying tight throughout the entire movement. So, and when I do touch and go, you know, I'm not slamming the weight on the ground and then coming up and slamming. I'm trying to go as slow on that eccentric movement as possible. Really just keeping everything as tight and just barely touching the floor before exploding up. So that's one thing I really like, and I think is really beneficial about touch and go. I did that last year leading up to my October meet, and I had one of the best meets I've ever had in regards to both deadlift and overall, so figured I don't really know why I got away with that, got away from that. But anyway, that's it. So I'll let you watch the raw footage from the deadlift portion. And that brings me to my second point of today's video, and that is to talk about RPE. So RPE has, you know, been around for a while, but I feel like lately I've been seeing it everywhere in the powerlifting community. Lots of coaches are utilizing this tool. Lots of people are using it. You see it mentioned on social media all the time. And I'm no expert on this. For a more in-depth analysis of RPE and everything, you can check out Mike T, my coach's videos on that. He's put out a lot of videos. He's done a lot of research, put out a lot of articles on that. And he has the best grasp on that out of most people out there. What I can tell you is I can give you my feedback from using this RP system and being involved in coaching that directly uses it for pretty much since I've started strictly powerlifting, so like 2 years. My first coach, Josh Bryant, was very RPE based too. That was a major point of his programming, and obviously Mike Toucher, that's a focal point of his training system too. So RPE, or rate of perceived exertion, is a subjective measuring tool to gauge how hard a particular working set was, or warm up, whatever kind of set you're doing in your training. And RPE is a tool to measure individual sets, basically how hard they are. It's on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the easiest, 10 being the absolute hardest. So we'll just, a quick example, pretend you're doing a set of 3. So you finish that set of 3, now you want to rate how hard it was. So if you rate it as an RPE 8, an RPE 8 out of 10, theoretically you had 2 more reps left in the tank. If you rate that set as a 9 RPE, theoretically you have 1 more rep left in the tank. And if you rate that set as an RP 10, you have nothing left in the tank. That is absolutely, that set of 3, that 3rd rep was a grind. You couldn't get 1 more. So, you know, it goes that way from 0 to 10. So that's a very basic explanation of the system. And you can see how that system is very, very subjective. And this is where, you know, this can kind of get a little bit iffy. So I personally think RPE is a great system. I love training with RPE because I think, that self-regulation, I feel like, is so much, you know, such a better way of training, especially if you're doing programming, you know, from a long distance coach. Instead of them telling you, okay, you have to do this weight today, this exact poundage, no, they tell you work up to this RPE, and that is very, very good because they don't know how you're feeling. A long distance coach can't judge your day-to-day, you know, your day-to-day fatigue levels and all that. They're not right there with you. They're not observing you, and, you know, they don't know, basically they don't know exactly what weight you need to be doing for that given day. Some days obviously you feel good, some days you don't feel so good. So there has to be that sort of self-regulation in a successful training, in any successful training program, in my opinion. Everyone who's used this system, including myself, have both underestimated and overestimated RPE. It happens sometimes. But the problem comes when you are consistently doing, you know, one of those 2 things. So you see how this subjectiveness of this system could be a problem if you are not honest with yourself. Because some coaches even, you know, they'll partially base attempt selection based on RPE. So you can get yourself in a whole load of trouble if you are not honest with yourself during training about your RPE. Because then when it comes meet time, you know, you can't run away from the fact that you weren't being honest with the RPE. So basically, it's a great system if you can look at it as objectively as possible. So if you can look at a very subjective thing as objectively as possible. I know that's a tongue twister right there. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the RPE based system. I'm a big fan of it. We'll be using it for probably as long as I'm powerlifting. I really enjoy it, have gotten some great gains from it. So hopefully that was somewhat insightful, you know, my experience with RPE. Again, I'm no expert. All I can tell you is what I've learned from my experience with it. You know, I haven't done much research on it, but I can just talk on the points that I've learned from being involved with coaches who have implemented that. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time.